And new draw. We got Tifa. And Aerith, they're on the same banner, okay. And it is Sid. Okay, sick. Sick. All right, here we go. We're not even gonna look at it. We're gonna look at it once we get into it. New draw? Oh, maybe the step up draw? Sick. So as always, as we always do with every single banner, let's check out the aesthetics. I know folks are feeling a particular type of way about both of them looking like Lightning and having the same like Lightning outfit. I'm assuming that all of the characters are probably gonna just get the Lightning outfit except for Glenn, who got the Snow outfit. And it's the Snow outfit from like, isn't that the one from Lightning Returns? So it's not even the one from 13 itself, it's from 13.3. So like, yeah. But yeah, this is sick. They gave Tifa some pink hair to make it look like Lightning's, which is dope. Obviously, it's Lightning's outfit, so you can either love it or hate it. It is what it is. I think it looks good. I've always liked Lightning's outfit. It's simple, but it's nice. I think it looks cool. I think it looks good on Aerith as well. We'll get into that afterwards, though. But even like the little pink in the hair, I think both of those are really cool, right? You can kind of see it in the bottom bit here as well, which is sick. So she even gets the gloves too, which is sick. Yeah. If young Sephiroth was Fang, that would be so sick. So sick. All right, let's start with the one that I'm already aware of what it does. This is Tifa's Lightning's gloves, but this is a magic damage ice weapon that decreases ice resistance and gives Tifa exploit weakness, which is absurd. It's absurd. And then if that wasn't enough, at OB10, it goes up to the full 1340%, which is again absurd. It goes mid to high on the ice resist down, which is fantastic. 30% of exploit weakness is more than enough. More than enough. It gets 62 magic attack, which is perfect, because that means she needs 0 magic attack sub-weapons. It's not super, for reasons that I'll explain when we get to actually how we would build this out. But the ice potency 42 is good. Materia slots look solid. Magic attack and sigil boost. This is a fantastic weapon, especially paired with her brand new Advent Children weapon that increases your team's stats while also inflicting enfeeble, which is just obviously very, very good. And it is just a very, very good weapon. Like, very good weapon. But yeah, this weapon is really solid. This is a really good weapon. All of the weapons that you're currently using for AoE exploit weakness are getting to about 30% as well. I don't remember the exact percentages, but it's around 30% as well. So this one as a DPS weapon that allows her to continue to reapply exploit weakness at a 30% level is very strong. Obviously, this is the strongest resist down weapon, I think, in the game. I don't even think anything else has come close in terms of like resist down at the same time while dealing the elemental damage. So this is wild how good this weapon is. This weapon is I cannot understate how great this is. This is a fantastic ice weapon, and I doubt we're gonna see anything as good as this anytime soon in this particular element. We'll likely see this effect again on other DPS characters moving forward, because this is the next power creep step, right? So we'll probably see one for fire, or maybe for physical ice, or for lightning, or for earth, right, etc. There'll be other examples of this, but for magic ice, this is going to be the weapon, and it's going to be the weapon for a while. This is really, really good. Tifa has a lot of really great supportive options for her offhand. The only unfortunate part, and we'll get into this when I get to the should you pull portion, the only unfortunate part about this is that a lot of the offhand options that Tifa would want are limited. So if you didn't pull on the Advent Children banner as an example, it makes it pretty difficult to have a good offhand weapon for this, because the Daffodil gloves would be your other option, and that just gives exploit weakness. So at that point, you're really only holding it for the stats. You're not really holding it for any other purpose, which can be kind of a bummer. But that doesn't mean it's going to be that way forever. This weapon is really strong on its own. It doesn't really need an offhand weapon. It kind of just does everything it needs to on its own. And really, she just needs 2 characters to come in and help her boost her magic attack, right? And reduce the enemy's magic defense. So other than that, though, this is a fantastic weapon. This is really, 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 really good. Like, really, 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 really good. One of the best weapons in the game. and probably one of Tifa's best weapons, which is wild to say because Tifa has a lot of very good weapons. But this is very strong, very, very strong. And with the amount of support that Ice has in the game, with things like the Scimitar, right, that it raises physical attack and magic attack and ice potency, the Citric Wand for Aerith that raises ice potency and magic attack, which is all Tifa needs, right? That's literally all Tifa needs is magic attack and ice potency. And Citric Wand does both of those things in one cast, right? I think it's 2 casts actually for the full ice potency. But like, she doesn't have to cast it multiple times because Tifa's offhand weapon increases that stat by +1, right? So that actually allows Aerith then to do something else, like use her current weapon or her new weapon to increase your damage even further before you start DPSing. So this is just a really good weapon. I can't overstate it. It's a very good weapon. This is probably going to be the defining magic ice weapon for builds moving forward. And unless Aerith's weapon is like unbelievably broken in terms of supportive effects, I can't imagine how people would skip this in terms of there's like even having this at OB0. It's got a medium ice resistance down with a 15% exploit weakness. And at OB1, it goes up to 20%, which is awesome. Like an extra 5% there is great. But like 720% magic ice damage with an ice resist built in is very, very good, right? Obviously, when you get up to OB6, that's when you start to see that bigger jump. You see that mid to high, and then the exploit weakness goes to 25%. So for someone like me, where Tifa's Daffodil Gloves are only at OB0 or OB1, I don't have the full 35 or 40%. I think it's 40% at OB6 that the Daffodil Gloves provides. So for me, getting this to OB6 is probably the goal. Whether or not we get it there, that's going to depend on the polls, but OB6 would definitely be the goal because that would get her to the exploit weakness level that I was already currently able to provide her. But yeah, man, this is a really, really good weapon. It's a very good effect, very good built in. The only downside, and I put this in the loosest of air quotes that I have, is that Yuffie is also a very good magic ice damage dealer. And Yuffie was already giving Tifa, in this case, the exploit weakness with her Rocker's Guitar, right? Because that's a great offhand weapon for Yuffie in her magic ice build. And so she was already giving your entire team exploit weakness. So that portion of it is a little bit less optimal if you want to talk about like optimization. But you could just replace Yuffie with Cloud, and Cloud actually does great in that slot with his fusion sword to not only just boost up Cloud's damage by a crap ton, but also like give you the magic defense debuff that you need. Give Cloud a little bit of a buff because I think it gives him a magic attack buff too, doesn't it? So like that's like a perfect character to pair with Tifa and Aerith then as a magic ice trio to deal like insane amounts of damage for magic ice weak stages. So very good weapon. Let's go into the outfit. Outfit is physical and magic ward. This is plus 15, so this is a 20% increase to physical and magic defense, which is great. And then Soldier's Valor is a Arcanum. So yeah, 15% HP, 50% total ice damage or magic ice damage, right? And yeah, it's solid, man. This is just like the Ever Crisis Academy outfits. So this is actually almost identical to the Ever Crisis Academy outfits. It's solid, man. It's great. It's great. I got nothing bad to say about it. It's very, very good. Like I said before, ice is one of the best elements in the game. And there's a strong possibility if you've been playing this game for a very long time, you very well may have some like magic ice builds already prepped and ready to go. You very well may have a magic ice build completely OB10'd, and this might not be that much of an upgrade for you. If that's the case, you can skip it, right? You can skip it. Because at the end of the day, this magic ice build is very, very strong, and it solves a lot of problems by giving you all of these bonus effects, right? By having a DPS weapon that automatically lowers ice resistance with no HP requirement, by the way, which is awesome. That's just included in the ice weapon. So as she's dealing damage, she's reapplying ice resist down. You're never gonna not have ice resist down on the enemy. That effect, it's in itself is so incredibly good, right? So incredibly good. But if you have a team built out already, you'll find it very rare that that's going to be like an obstacle, right? It's going to be those situations like the guild battle that we just had, right? Where you needed too many effects at the same time, right? You needed AoE earth resist down. You needed AoE earth potency up. You need an AoE exploit weakness. You need an AoE magic defense down. You need an AoE magic attack up. You need it, you know what I mean? The kind of list just kind of kept stacking. And so when they add these effects into these damage weapons, or they overwhelm a support character weapon. So like when Komura first came out as an example, and that was like the best thing since sliced bread, that these weapons that come with like all of these extra effects built in, that's where we find a lot of the power creep and a lot of the strength in this game. So this is a very strong weapon. I don't want to understate it. This is a very strong weapon, very strong outfit. This makes Tifa the best magic ice damage dealer in the game. It's not even very close to me. Just because of the utility of it and the fact that she can offhand an enfeeble effect that also increases your entire team's damage, right? With her leather combat gloves. Those two limited weapon combination is going to make for a very, very potent and very, very dangerous magic ice damage dealer. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Tifa. We'll talk about wishlist and stuff afterwards. I'm going to go through Aerith next. Aerith's aesthetics, like I said, it's Lightning's outfit, so it's dope. I like it. I do like the fact that she's got the little gunblade slot. You know, obviously, like I said, I like the pink. We already went through all this, right? And the weapon looks cool. I do like how the rod looks. Let's check out Lightning's rod. All right, so this one gives a magic damage bonus effect. So this is going to be very similar to the Kikuchi Manji from Sephiroth, right? It's going to give your magic damage an additional, that's a 20% bonus damage, right? So like when you used Yuffie's weapon in the guild battle last week, when you used it, an additional earth damage was applied, and you saw that little plus with the extra damage on the bottom. That's what this one is. At OB0, this is a 20% increase, which is pretty strong. At OB0, that's pretty good. I think Kikuchi Manji is also a 20% at OB0. And then you also get a low to mid physical defense increase, but only when Aerith's HP is above 70%. This is kind of crucial. We'll talk about this more in a second. And then the first cast, you get an increased command gauge 50%. So when Aerith casts this the very first time, that diamond that's in the right, that red diamond that you want to get maxed out, that's the command gauge. This increases that command gauge by 50%. That almost certainly maxes it out from the beginning of the fight, right? That gets you off to your biggest DPS and best DPS right off the rip. And so that's nice, truly. And you can also use this as a counter to those bosses that inflict the status effect called Dread, which then decrease your command gauge and make it very hard for that command gauge to fill up. You can save something like this until after that effect goes down. Use this to give an extra 50% buff to that command gauge to get it back to full faster and get rid of that Dread status effect. So this is a cool effect. The first time use is whatever, right? It's obviously a huge buff to your command gauge, so that's sick. OB1 doesn't do anything besides to increase the duration of things, right? All the percentages are the same. It's gonna be 62 heal. OB6 goes from 20 to 25%, and then physical defense actually goes all the way up to high. Okay, so it does go from low to mid to just high to high, which is interesting. The heal goes to 7%, command gauge goes to 75%, which is pretty strong. And then at OB10, it goes to 30%, physical defense high to high, 7% heal, and then the 75% is exactly the same. So all that does is the OB6 to OB10 just increases this by 5. And the duration goes up by 10 seconds. That's pretty insignificant for me overall. Materia slots are good though. Cure all slot is necessary for a weapon like this. Heal boost is fine. It's good, right? It's good. It's a good weapon. I don't think that this is necessary at high overboost levels, because like the thing here is, like, when I was talking about this offline, I was talking about Sephiroth's Kikuchi Manji specifically because it did both physical and magic, right? And the reason why this was so good is because at the same level, right, OB1, this does a non-elemental magic damage attack to the entire enemy team, gives a haste to Sephiroth, which is really strong, and gives your entire team physical and magic damage buff, right? And it's the same. It's 30% to both. But this one does 1340% damage, also has a haste, has supportive R abilities for your damage dealers, right? Which is like, all of those things are really, really, really good, right? This weapon is just okay. It's just okay. I'm actually not terribly impressed by this lightning rod at all. Yeah, I'm not impressed. by this weapon overall. It's definitely solid. It's definitely a good weapon. I think that it runs into the Aerith problem, right? Where Aerith has so many limited weapons and so many good limited weapons in her kit that you're gonna struggle to find a place to put this, right? Obviously, for the stages where you're fighting something that is a physical attacking unit, that you wanna buff your magic damage in that fight and just your magic damage, and when you need that command gauge increase, that's dope, right? And it's cool that Aerith has it, because obviously Sephiroth can't be the only one that has these effects, right? Other people have to have these effects. So Aerith having it, I don't have a problem with. The problem that I have is that Sephiroth does both physical and magic with a very good damaging effect, on top of the fact that it does like the haste on top of it, which makes him do even more for your team. And this one, it's a physical defense increase, which is fine. She already has access to physical defense increase. And mid to high still, right, with Bahamut Rod. Now, granted, she has to cast that twice, and that's 10 ATB. This is only 4, right? So this is still good. It's not a bad weapon, but I am not impressed by this at all. I am not impressed by this at all. I would be perfectly fine having this at OB0, right? Because the real reason that you're using this is for this, right? This is just a bonus. But the fact that it has an HP requirement for a physical defense increase in 2025 is insane. Like for a defensive ability to have an HP threshold attached to it is wild to me. And especially 70%. It doesn't even go down in OB10. But yeah, the only reason that you would get this weapon from OB0 to OB6 is to get the physical defense from low to high. That's it. That's the only reason, because it's only a 5% increase on the magic damage bonus, which like does matter. 5% is 5%, but like it's only 5%. That's not that big of a deal. You can just use this as an OB0 offhand weapon and just have the, you know, what is it at OB1? 42 heal and 18 buff debuff. This is fine as an offhand weapon for one copy, right? I don't think you have to go hard in the paint for this one, right? I really don't. I really don't. I don't think this is, there are too many limited weapons within Aerith's kit that would be competing for this slot that I feel like she almost always will not be carrying this in her current builds. Now, if you're a newer player and you don't have access to Crimson Staff, Bahamut Rod, what are the other ones? The Terror Rod from Final Fantasy VI crossover, right? There are so many weapons that I can list here that are limited weapons that could fit into this role. Kimura Wand, right? Like, if you don't have any of those weapons, this isn't a bad weapon, right? This is a good weapon. It is a good weapon, but it is not so impressive that I would prioritize this over the Tifa weapon, right? This does way more for your team and way more for Tifa than this lightning rod does for Aerith, in my opinion. I'm pretty unimpressed by this overall, because the truth is that in most cases, Aerith is bringing in Crimson Staff and Citric Wand, one of the two, and then this would be her offhand weapon, right? But yeah, I don't know. I'm not terribly impressed by this at all. I think if I ever actually wanted this, I would rather bring in Sephiroth and just have him do it instead with more offensive R abilities. And then he has a magic attack increase for your entire team in, what's that water weapon called? Osafune, I think. And you could run those two weapons and it does the exact same thing that this one does, but minus the physical defense increase, which like very rarely is that gonna matter, right? Only in the highest of high level content are you really gonna need like an additional physical defense increase on top of it, right? And when you do, you'll have the one copy, you know, on deck to do it if you need to. But in that case, if I had to run Aerith, I would just not run the 20% damage and I'd just run Bahamut Rod, right? With the heal and the physical defense increase. Because remember, you're only getting this if you're above 70% HP, which means you have to cast this at the beginning of the fight anyways. Because if she drops below 70%, you have to heal to get it back up in order to get the physical defense, which is 5 ATB, and the heal is coming from Aerith. And that's like, so it's gonna cost you 9 ATB anyways. So yeah, that's tough, man. I think that I would have a much rosier feeling about this if this HP threshold wasn't here. I would. And if this percentage was higher. I think this percentage should go up to 40 at OB10. I don't think this should be 30. There's no reason why Sephiroth does physical and magic at 30%, the exact same amount. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't agree with that. The duration is nice, I guess. I didn't touch on that. The duration is nice, and maybe the duration is much better than Sephiroth's. I didn't check what Sephiroth's duration was. No, it's 60 seconds. Never mind. Nope. Nope, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't think it's that good. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's that good. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I think this is a pretty mid weapon, especially for a crossover weapon that's a limited weapon, meaning that you have to invest a ton of resources in order to even get this to a point where you actually want to use it. I don't think this is worth your resources. I think that there are going to be better options. And again, this isn't to say that the weapon is bad. I'm just saying that I don't see a world where you're investing in this to get this above OB0, right? For the most part, right? For folks that are paying to buy gems and stuff, obviously this doesn't apply, right? Because having this at OB10 and having an option like this is awesome for this game, right? But this is definitely an underwhelming weapon for a crossover, for a limited weapon, right? Very underwhelming. Outfit is boost defense all allies, which is a weapon ability. So we already know how I feel about that, especially for, again, a limited outfit. And then Soldier's Pride is a 35% healing potency is a lot. 35% is a lot. And then plus 2 ATB to your entire team is pretty good as well. This is solid. This is solid. I think I wish this was something else, right? I think even if this was just selfish defensive, I understand why they gave her a supportive effect. I do. But it's fine. Like I said before, we were talking about, I forget which banner it was that had the physical defense or magic defense all allies effect. I don't think that this is a bad effect because it does open up a sub weapon slot for your non-DPS characters, which is awesome, right? This is Applibot and Square Enix recognizing that like our healers and our supports have been designated to just holding supportive weapons, right? And putting those supportive effects on outfits opens up a sub weapon slot to help increase our damage ceiling, increase our survivability, etc., right? Which is good, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. But because it's on an outfit, it makes it so that this outfit, which is very difficult to obtain, right? It makes it so this outfit is only good in this one particular type of damage, right? Which is nice, but like, it's fine, right? It's fine. The 35% healing potency is a lot. That's a massive number. I think that's by far the highest we've seen for healing potency. That's basically a healing arcanum, which would let Aerith heal for pretty ridiculous numbers with our current statistics and the way that we get our heal and stats and stuff up. So like, that's all of that remains, right? That's very true. It's very, very good in that regard. And the plus 2 ATB gets your team off and running quick, which is awesome. It just feels a little niche to me. It feels a little niche to me. Outside of the healing potency, which is really good, it feels a little niche to me for a crossover outfit, right? It does. So I think that this is probably a skip for me for the Aerith half of the banner. I'm not super impressed by this banner Aerith bit at all. Not at all. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Aerith bit of this at all. I think I would skip this part entirely and just wait for the other stuff. And that's the best part, right? And when I say skip, know that I say this with a grain of salt, right? Whenever it's a crossover banner or a limit break banner, you always are going to be pulling at least once to pull off one of the copies of the weapons, so that way you can always upgrade it with weapon parts down the road, even if the weapon doesn't come back, right? This banner is out for a month, right? We're gonna have plenty of things to compare it to see if you end up thinking that this one is better than the other banners and you had resources to save and you're not interested in Nier, so you're gonna pull on this one instead. If that's the case, this outfit is not so bad that I wouldn't pull for it at all, right? It's fine. I was just hoping for something with a little bit more oomph to it, right? Again, the 35% healing potency is great. That is oomph, that is good. It's this ability, right? That I'm just like not a fan of personally. It does have its uses, it is useful, but it's just okay for me. And for a crossover banner with other crossover banners coming up in the coming weeks, I would rather hang tight, wait for the other crossover banners to drop, and then make a choice then. But for me, I'm almost completely out personally on the outfit and the weapon. All right, let's check a stamp card. Oh man, God, they can't. I don't know how better to say this. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is a terrible stamp card. For how many banners we're about to see over the next 2 months, meaning this month and next month, for them to not have a user-friendly stamp card or a free-to-play friendly stamp card is just, it's just greedy. It is what it is. It's greedy. And considering how many people like fought back during Anniversary about having this same exact stamp card, who the hell needs these? Sincerely, these blue cubes. I don't even think new players need these at this point. That's just 5 dead stamp slots that give us nothing. This is all useless. What am I doing with 12,000 of these genome pods, right? Or 7,000 of these nanocube models? These are just dead stamps. So when you get the second weapon, you have 5 dead stamps before you finally get the outfit. Like this has to change, man. It really has to change. They can't keep doing this. I mean, they can, but their player base is gonna evaporate if they continue to do it this way. They've got to change it. They've got to change it. It's got to be better than this. This is not acceptable for 2 years into the game. They've got to do better than this. Yeah, there's no reason why it couldn't have been like the Ever Crisis Academy. Absolutely no reason. This month and next month, with the holidays coming up, especially with how people are doing financially right now, right? But like, this is crazy. 15,000 crystals, nothing, right. And that's exactly what we talked about before, right? For the first 6 stamps, it's fine, right? Because at least you're getting 3 5-star weapons. So you can at least, you can at least put your feather in your hat for that, right? Like you can at least take that back and go, all right, well, at least I got some 5-star weapons. But then you could literally pull 15,000 crystals, get 1 stamp every single time, get no 5 stars, and get nothing in terms of rewards from the stamps. That sucks. Especially because it takes ages to build up these crystals. Yeah, I wouldn't even say borderline unacceptable. It is unacceptable. They have to be better than this. They have to be better than this. This can't, like for Anniversary, they're trying to get people to spend money, whatever, right? We are only a month removed. They be better than this. There's absolutely no reason for this. Absolutely no reason at all. That's so disappointing. So disappointing. All right, before we get into the wish list, let's check out Cid's ultimate weapon. Cid's ultimate weapon is the Venus Gospel. It is call and response. 2,000 damage, that's normal. Applies physical weapon boost to all allies, magic weapon boost to all allies, plus 2 ATB to all allies. Okay. This is good, right? This is good. So the way that these weapon boost abilities work.
A few moments later.
YouTube, hello. This is a little post-edit recording here because I forgot to do 2 things. Or, well, I did one thing wrong and I forgot to do another thing. So first thing that I did wrong was I misread the Venus Gospel ability. I thought that this was an amp physical weapon, an amp magic weapon ability. This is not. This is what the weapon boost ability. So what this does is this gives your characters, all 3 of your characters, 30% extra damage for the entire duration of this. So what it does is it takes your weapon that does 1100% damage and increases that by 30% for the full 60 seconds. I read this as an amp magic and physical ability last night, and that is incorrect. It says boost right there. So this is just like Cloud's fusion sword that increased his damage by 30% across the board and gave him that exploit weakness as well, which is like obviously really, really good. This is for your entire team, physical and magic. So this is great for both, which makes this significantly more exciting than I thought it was before. My points about Cid and his kit not being very strong still remain. So obviously this will be pretty niche for now until they start giving Cid some better weapons to allow him to be more included in your team comps. But it is nice to have this option if you do get the ultimate weapon from your pulls. It's nice to have this option to increase your damage by 30%. And like I said, he does have a couple of builds that you can utilize that he can still be part of, right? He's still good on magic lightning teams because he's got the Dragoon Lance that does the magic lightning resist down, right? And he can still be part of ice teams, though Tifa's weapon kind of minimizes that usefulness. Now it's in today's builds, right? But it's not to say that Cid is completely useless. He does have his niche roles, and hopefully he gets some more featured bannered help in the future to help him out. But if and when he does, this weapon is going to be very good for a very long time, right? Very long time. So this one's a pretty good one. Yeah, he's got a long way to go. Cid is by far the worst character in this game. Like, I don't even think it's very close. The only reason why Zac is somewhere in the same zip code is because a lot of Zac's damage weapons were limited, right? His featured pool, Zac's featured pool specifically, is very weak, right? Very, very weak. They are addressing Zac's featured pool and have been this year. But Sid's kit is bad, right? Just bad. There's nothing really in his kit that makes you want to pick him versus the other characters in this game and everything that they're able to do, right? And now his limited weapon that he got at the beginning of the year is borderline useless. It's a sub weapon at this point. So it's an interesting conversation. It's definitely an interesting conversation. The problem I think with Sid is that he just doesn't have the kit to support this. And so would I focus in on these banners to try to go and get this? I guess it's up to you at the end of the day. If you really like to have Sid and you like Sid as a character, I think this weapon's fine. This secondary ability, as I mentioned before, is only good when there's actually a sigil break phase. Thankfully, a lot of enemies in this game do have that, which is nice. But outside of that, this is the same effect that Clouds has. So it's basically the same thing, but it's always nice to have other options, right? An AoE weapon boost ability is just fine. Nothing wrong with it. Plus 2 ATB is cool because it gets you guys casting more, which is dope. It does get 2 casts, so you get to do it twice, which is also dope. But, and buff debuff extension for one of the R abilities is also good for a support character, right? In Sid. So it's solid. It's solid. There's nothing wrong with it. It's Sid that's the problem, right? In terms of the wish list, let's talk about Tifa first. So the biggest thing with Tifa is that she is already maxed out on her magic attack with this weapon, right? So for her offhand, you'd like to have something that gives you that extra 52 points or 56 points if you get it to 130 of ice potency to help max you out with that ice potency. The issue is, and I mentioned this earlier when we were talking about the actual weapon, the weapon that she would like to have in her offhand to give her the rest of that ice potency is the Cath Palug, but it's giving you magic attack that if you get this weapon to OB10, you don't need, right? If you're only getting to OB6, problem solved, right? You'll be fine. You're gonna need a little bit more ice potency anyways, and the magic attack won't be maxed out at OB6. I think it goes up to like 42. No, it's 54, isn't it? At OB6 for the 62 weapons. It is 54, yeah. So that Cath Palug gives you the extra point that you need, right? Which you were only looking for one more point anyways. And then at 30 ice potency, that extra 28 points gets you up to the level 7 break, which means you only need to do one other ice weapon, and you can put whatever other ice weapon you want to max that out at that point, right? Because I feel like most people, if you're pulling on this banner, the highest you're getting on this weapon is OB6, right? The highest you're getting on this weapon is OB6 max. And that's if you go through both stamp cards. And at this point, I don't like Aerith's outfit that much to really justify pulling all the way to the second stamp card. Which is actually, it might actually change my opinion on if I'm pulling on this banner or not tonight, but we'll get to that in a minute. So when it comes to these sub weapons and in general, you're probably just looking for that one ice sub weapon slot that gives you that extra potency. Like I said, that's one of the only weapons in the game that gives you 56 in the offhand. The other one is the Defender, which does give boost heal and is a physical focus leaning sword, but it does give the ice potency that you're looking for. I don't think any of the other weapons in the game go up to that break point that you can put in Tifa's offhand, except for I think Desperado Rifle did, right? But this is a physical attacking weapon as well. So there aren't any other weapons in the game that have that extra 56 in the sub weapon slot, which is kind of a bummer. And that does make optimizing for Tifa a little awkward, but you could still put Cath Palug on here. It would be absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? That's a perfectly good option. If you don't have that at OB10, you can always put that on there. In terms of her other sub weapons, she's probably looking for magic ability potency. The other one that you would be looking for that is magic ability potency and attack is actually also in Vincent's kit, and it is the Sawed Off GS. This is a 31 attack and 56 magic ability potency weapon, which is very good. And this gives her the ability to then start looking to max out that magic ability potency. The last one that you're looking for, there are only 2 other weapons that do magic ability potency to that level, which 56 is the one that we're looking for, right? The one is the Barrett's Electro Cannon, which obviously gives magic attack, so this isn't the preferred option if we can get away with it. The other magic ability potency option that goes up that high is Matt's SPA Rapier XG, does 56 magic ability potency and has a magic defense. Magic defense obviously is not what you're looking for, but it does give you that level 7 break for the magic ability potency. If you're not interested in that, you can do any 42 magic ability potency weapon. So any of the event weapons that we have work just fine. Anything that's got boost attack and magic ability potency, like Kate Sith's Crystal Megaphone, I believe, is 42 and 50 and 42 and or 46 and 42. Yeah, this would work fine, right? There are plenty of options in the game for boost magic ability potency to get you to the level 6 break. If you're interested in that instead, just pick whatever one works best for you and what works best for your account. In terms of the other sub weapons here, or other options or other things you'd like to pull for, you want to look for weapons that are new, and so like all of the new feature weapons. But one weapon that I would absolutely 100% include if you do not have it at OB10 is Cloud's Full Throttle. Cloud's Full Throttle is an 11-20% magic ice damage attack that also increases his magic attack, so he's self-sufficient in that realm, but he also decreases the target's magic defense as long as it is a weakness. The reason why this is important is because now you are dealing, two characters are dealing damage in Cloud and Tifa. They are dealing primarily ice damage, and they are decreasing ice resistance, decreasing magic resistance, and giving himself magic attack in Cloud's sake. And for Tifa, she has the ability to inflict Enfeeble with that offhand weapon in the leather combat gloves, making them very, very, very strong together, right? Very strong together. The reason why this is super important is because Cloud is self-sufficient, you can actually get away with running Citric Wand on Aerith because you're able to do the what's it called? The magic attack increase and the ice potency increase on the one character that doesn't have the magic attack yet, which is sick. So yeah, so that's it's solid, man. It's solid. I would include Full Throttle on here for sure. If you don't have this at OB10, I think this is pretty important. The other weapons that you want to include, it's just dependent on your account, what you're looking for. For me in particular, there are certain weapons like the Desperado rifle that I feel like are probably auto pulls as long as they're in the featured pool for us to pick. So that's going to be included for me. I'm also going to include Vincent's Galleon Roar because this is just way too strong of a weapon to not include, right? Like way too strong of a weapon to not include in the wish list. So that's going to stay on there as well. I'm on the fence about the Desperado Glaive. I'm probably going to not include this. I'm probably going to put on like Zack's Sword of the Hunt, maybe. The other thing that I forgot to do is go over a wish list for if you were pulling for Aerith. For Aerith in particular, the one thing that I would recommend you pulling on for Aerith's wish list is Citric Wand. If you don't have Citric Wand at OB10, this is a perfect weapon to pair with Tifa, with your magic ice builds, right? Although, like, if you're pulling for Tifa, you're really pulling for magic-focused builds in general. This one increases ice damage to high. It increases the magic attack mid to high, which is obviously very good as well. Has buff-debuff extension, which is also very good. And if you main hand this, it maxes it out at a full 200% effect duration, which is ridiculous. It makes these durations insanely long, right? Has really solid sigil abilities, so the materia slots has really solid materia slots. That's a great option, so I would include Citric Wand on here. As for the rest of it, it's really just whatever you'd like to have. If you're looking for something that's got a magic defense debuff, you can put Snowflake on. This is not a terribly good weapon in today's game, but it does have good R abilities, and it is ice damage, and it does lower magic defense, so it's a way for you to deal damage while still like applying a debuff for your team. Truth be told, Cloud's Full Throttle lowers magic defense for ice weak stages, so and that one does double the amount of damage as this one. So I'd rather have that over making Aerith hold it. I would rather have Aerith hold one of her very many limited weapons, including the limited weapon that is running on this banner, because if you're pulling for this, you're probably holding this. So Citric Wand is the one that I'd probably be the most excited about. In terms of the rest of the wish list, you can give her whatever you want in terms of like her featured pool. In her featured pool, there's not a ton here that I would be super excited about. Most of the sub weapons that she's going to be carrying are going to be supportive ones, so things like magic attack all allies, things like that. And usually her offhand weapon will likely also be a limited weapon, something like Crimson Staff or Bahamut Rod, or this new Lightning's Rod, right, will be your offhand weapon. So realistically, I think that Citric Wand is really the only thing you need to have at OB10 or have on your wish list when you're pulling for this, just because it helps amplify. Even if it's not an ice character, she still gives some magic attack there. And if you don't have Crimson Staff, that's really her only instance of magic attack in the game right now. So if you're looking for a way to increase magic attack, Citric Wand's the way to go. And then that's pretty much it. Rest of the wish list, I would just put on featured weapons. You can pull for any of the sub weapons that we talked about for Tifa earlier in this video, and you can go from there. But like I said, if you're primarily focusing on Aerith, I would definitely include Citric Wand. Specifically if you don't have Crimson Staff. If you do have Crimson Staff at a decent overboost, or even at OB0, because that weapon is very good even at OB0, you can really give her whatever you want on this if you wanted to try to build Aerith out. Most of these weapons have their use cases, and with healers and supports, their kits are a bit more flexible, I suppose, more often used than most. Most of the weapons that I wouldn't include are things like the Shriking Staff, which doesn't really do a whole lot for you, the Wiser Staff and the Mithril Rod, or the Wizard Staff rather. Both of those are really just kind of meh, right? Nothing crazy. Full Metal Staff is a physical attack decrease. If you wanted to have something like this in the offhand, it's an option, but like it has boost physical attack as an R ability for Aerith, so like it's not that good, right? Guard Stick has some good boost heal, but it has limit break potency, which is like whatever, you know. So most of Aerith's featured pool is pretty subpar, so I wouldn't worry about wishlisting too many things for Aerith. I'd look to wishlist things like the new featured weapons that just came out, the stuff that helps Tifa do more damage for her ice build, stuff that helps Cloud and Yuffie do more ice damage if you're deciding to not focus in on Tifa and you'd rather just use your Yuffie and your Cloud. You can pull for Rocker's Guitar for Yuffie, Full Throttle for Cloud, Little Red Wreath for Yuffie, which we all got to OB6 already, right? So that's an option as well. But yeah, keep that in mind as you're doing your pulls for Aerith. I think that most of the wish list should just be basically supportive weapons for your damage dealers versus Aerith. So I think that's where I land with my wish list personally. So it's going to be the Galleon Roar. It's going to be the Desperado Rapier. It's going to be the Sawed-Off GS. I'm going to include the Desperado Rifle as well. And my Full Throttle is not at OB10, so I'm going to include the Full Throttle on my wish list as well. But the truth is like, if I don't like an outfit and you do, please go for it still if you like it. Like, don't listen to me. Don't make my word is not law. No, you're absolutely right though. That Glad outfit is amazing. I cannot believe how good that outfit is. And everybody's just gonna get that for free. That's crazy. Yeah, that outfit is crazy good. This is just a gacha outfit. I mean, they're basically, this is almost identical to what they're giving us for Aerith, right? It's just instead of tank stats, they're giving us 35% healing potency.